Did you watch Raw? This is a Raw
Yes, I did.
After
Did
some
you, Joe?
Survivor Series.
Yes, I did.
So Randy Orton comes out. He said, "I'm back for as long as I can stay here." They gave him a welcome back chant. He said, "Time away gave him time to think. So one thing he never had a chance to do is compete in War Games." And Orton said that when his dear friend Cody invited him to be in the match, of course he accepted. Orton also mentioned the match creator Dusty Rhodes and said he was able to be a part of history, make a moment. Said that's what it's all about, but he also came back because he has unfinished business. Orton said it's with the bloodline. Orton said he's made a career out of putting people on the shelf, and Orton said he might be able to forgive, but he can't forget. Orton said he had a bag full of receipts waiting for the bloodline and emphasized that he means every single member. Orton said those receipts will come in the form of the 3 most dangerous letters in all sports entertainment, RKO. So Rhea comes out, and she welcomes Orton back and praises his performance in Survivor Series, that she didn't think he would team with someone who tried to end his career, have his long-awaited return upstaged. And Ripley said Orton looked more dangerous than ever, and it would be a shame to have it wasted. Ripley said Orton doesn't seem to realize that the landscape has changed. And Ripley said the bloodline has fallen while the Judgment Day has risen as the most dominant force in WWE. She said if it wasn't for Orton, Damian Priest would be the World Heavyweight Champion, and said Orton came back and made enemies who can make his life a living nightmare. She told him to stop focusing on the bloodline. And Ripley said that unlike the bloodline, the Judgment Day gets the job done and put him out permanently. Then an RKO chant broke out. Orton said he watched the product while he was out. It was Mommy this, Mommy that, Mommy this. And he said, well, guess what, Rhea, Daddy's back. Started a Who's Your Daddy chant. That was actually a good line. Ripley laughed. Orton acknowledged that a lot of things had changed since he was away, but the one thing that never changes is that nobody tells him what to do. Ripley laughed and said Orton has made his bed, and she said he tried to warn him and gave him an out, but he's made Judgment Day his enemy. So then Dom and JD attack him. JD's got the neck brace on. This to me was silly. Okay, because they keep trying to sell JD instead of being hurt, like he's with medical, and he's walking around there doing all this physicality with the neck brace on. It's ridiculous, right?
I'll tell you something even more ridiculous when you're done. But go ahead.
Okay, so then Orton fought them off and then set him up for the draping DDT. But McDonough broke it up and then dropped with an RKO. The Dom slipped to ringside, and Orton got in the ring and challenged Dom for a match later tonight. So they got that. This got a good. This whole segment got a good crowd response for the whole thing. What did you think?
Yeah, and it got a good rating too because Joe had sent me the ratings, the breakdowns. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But this was really good. Let me make a point too.
The numbers were basically they were up 28%. Okay,
right.
And Raw was basically back to their numbers when Monday Night Football's not on, like 1.8 million and change. So if this was done probably during a week that Monday Night Football was not on, like 18%, this would probably been like 2.2 million. Probably would have been the number. So but it's still excellent numbers.
Yeah. I think the 3 things that stuck out to me when Joe sent me that thing was I think the Rollins segment, the CM Punk overrun, and the opening segment were the ones that got like the biggest ratings.
Rollins is the 9. They always put Rollins start at the 9 o'clock hour too. So that always gets
they always do. That's true. That's very true. Well, and they always get a good rating there too.
Would you guys have? Because I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff now saying, "Well, they should have opened with Punk, or they should have had Punk at 9." Do you agree with having Punk as the last segment, or do you think?
No, sell it. He's a draw.
Orton's come. Bro, you had great bookends. You had Orton at the beginning and Punk at the end.
And a good segment with Rollins and Drew in the middle.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, let me just finish. I thought I loved seeing Orton this way. He came out high-fiving everybody, signing some kid's little toy. He was embracing it. He got into the ring. He soaked it in with his pose. You could generally tell he was smiling, He could tell he was happy to be back. And when he came back and was in the ring, the people to a thunderous ovation were chanting, "Welcome back." I love that. Mommy this, mommy that. And then he goes, real quick, daddy. Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but there's one thing about him coming back, right? Bro, it's so much more invigorating when you're coming back. And you're coming back and business is at a real high. Like, you're like you're going to get a big pop to go out there.
Get in there, right?
Yes, right. As opposed to coming back and it's like, 3/4 full.
You're already amped up a couple of days before in the dressing room on the plane. You're like, I'm ready to go. That place is going to be lit.
Right.
And it's kind of funny because all this "Who's Your Daddy," "Mommy," all that actually came from the original "Who's Your Papi" with Eddie. You know, he looked tan, in great shape. The only problem, this is me a lot of years in, you know, I think that it's very hard to believe that the Viper would join Judgment Day, right? But you've probably got newer viewers that are like, oh, really? He might join them. I don't know if you noticed, but they got like a new intro for Raw. Did you hear that or no?
Yes, it did. I saw it, yeah. It's a good energy song.
It still needs. I still need a little time to get used to it. Here was another thing that was weird, and I didn't even notice this till it actually happened because I was looking at my watch for something. Bro, the first hour was without commercials.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, like you said, the Viper said he came back because Cody Rhodes called him up, but he still had something to fix. Unfinished business with Jey. Great opening segment. Great everything.
Let me make another point too. I don't know how this is going to affect the viewership of the show, but as of yesterday or like 2 days ago, Raw and SmackDown are no longer in the Hulu library anymore.
Really?
Like, and I don't even know if you have to like record the show now to watch it, or like you know, like but they don't have the library of the shows in there anymore. Their deal and like in September they were supposed to end the deal with Hulu, but they extended it for a couple months. And like I went to go watch Raw and it wasn't on Hulu anymore.
Wow.
And so, which is weird.
I haven't heard any announcements.
I had to find a link, and I found a place the place we have a link to watch it, so I watched it too. And it was funny too because it was interesting. It was on a link from Daily Motion, right? That had 3 parts. Okay, and it was kind of weird because part 1 was like an hour,
right? And
part 2 and part 3 were like 42 minutes.
Right.
So it was like the part 2 and part 3 had the commercials cut out. The first one was like, but I didn't notice that when I was watching it. So.
Yeah, they do that a lot. Yeah.
Right.
What is Daily Motion exactly supposed to be? I've heard of them for a long time.
Like,
it's been around as long as YouTube, but it's not.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
It's like international or something where a lot of the copyright they don't give about kind of thing.
Right. And plus too, it's one of the places where you can find links to like New Japan stuff. Like Japanese wrestling is on. Like you really can't find a lot of good Japanese on YouTube, right? Yeah. So we go to Daily Motion, they have a lot of it.
Right.
Let me see. So then, for some ungodly reason, they had, they had a Truth acting like an idiot again on this show, where he's.
Well, he's been
really
doing that for years.
I know, but this was like really especially like
No, this is exactly what they have him do, dude.
Right.
He always forgets. He doesn't know that he's in the match. You know, something happened.
I'd forgotten, I guess, because
he confuses the names. Yeah.
Yeah. He'll bring a ladder out to a battle royal and start climbing it. Remember?
So Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile are informing the team. There's a bunch of teams backstage. They would compete in the tag team turmoil match. All the girls, right? Or all the guy teams, right? So they introduced. So this is the sentence here. They introduced musical performer Jelly Roll, who spoke about how excited he was to be there. Okay, I saw the guy. So Jelly Roll comes out. Is he a rapper? Is he a country guy? What is his genre?
He's a country singer. So one day I was in a car and they were taking me to an autograph signing. And I do not like country. And this guy was playing this song by Jelly Roll. And I was about to tell him to take it off. But I was listening to the lyrics, and it was basically about a guy, which a lot of people everywhere, not just the South, because he's like from Tennessee or whatever he's from. So the guy's struggling. He's from Nashville? Yeah, okay. So he's a guy struggling with drinking. And he even has a lot of really cool lines. Like he goes up. I actually told the guy to run the song back, and then I looked him up, and I think it might have won Song of the Year, and he was nominated like for Best New Artist in the Grammys. But here was my favorite part. When I was reading about him, he recorded the song intoxicated. But it's actually it's actually a pretty good song. I want to ask Dom if he listens to him, because remember Dom said he likes country?
Yes.
Oh, how did that happen?
I have no idea.
This is some country too.
I'm saying, when you listen to like, Johnny Cash and Waylon and the older stuff, but it's always like, I'm always curious how people found them,
So they have the tag team turmoil match for shot the titles. New Day, Alpha Academy, DIY, Indus Shear, Kaiser and Gianardo da Vinci and the Creed brothers were in tag team turmoil match. And basically, this was a long match.
Yeah, dude.
I was fast forwarding. I was like, "What is this thing going to end?" Because they kept eliminating teams and other teams would come in. This was basically a showcase for the Creed brothers. They basically eliminated how many people did they eliminate here?
I think they eliminated Gargano, maybe.
Well, Gargano and Ciampa eliminated 2 teams, and the Creed brothers eliminated 3 teams. Okay,
well, it should be in front of you. Should say it, right?
Yeah, no. This is the Gargano, eliminated the first 2 teams.
Right.
Then, and the Creed brothers eliminated them. They eliminated Kofi and they eliminated Kaiser and Gianardo da Vinci. But I'm not going to lie. Okay, these guys are all right, but I'm not going to pretend that finish that they do is that's kind of risky. I mean, I actually think when he did the one to the Kaiser and Da Vinci, the cannonball thing, I think he landed on Da Vinci's arm because he immediately grabbed his arm and sold it like he was really hurt. Like when he landed up, you see the way that the bump the guy takes, right?
Right.
He can hurt his own shoulder, or just it's not a I don't know. I'm not a fan of that finish. I think somebody's gonna get hurt. Either they're gonna get hurt doing it, or they're gonna hurt somebody doing it.
Right.
But they went over, and the best thing to get these guys over that they did after the match. I'll just go to this real quick. You talk about the match. They go to the clubhouse, right? They go to the Judgment Day clubhouse. And Finn entered the room and said, "Hey, did you just watch that match?" He goes, those Creed guys. He goes, "Hey, we can't take those guys lightly. Put them over. Like the whole segment was just those guys over, right?" So Priest was more concerned with losing in War Games. He said he was the leader and he lost the match. And Priest said he let them down and told them to get it off their chest. And Ripley said they were a family and they all rise and fall together. And Balor and Dom backed up Ripley, who said they weren't going to hold a grudge against him. This is kind of like a babyface moment for the Judgment Day back in the back. And Priest said he appreciated it and asked how McDonough was doing. And Balor said McDonough was gay. This is ridiculous. McDonough was being tended to by medical because he took the RKO with the neck brace on, and then they went to go check on him, right? What did you think about this whole segment, start to finish with the match and this thing in the back? Okay,
so let me go way back to the JD McDonough thing. So Orton hits him with an RK off the cage, which was incredible. The guy shows up with a neck brace, nice touch, right? Then on Monday night, I don't know why you would go into the ring if your neck just got, wrestlers are dumb that way.
Right.
He got hit again, right? And if that wasn't enough, he came out as a second. Would you want a third one, dude? Would you want a broken neck?
I mean, he was supposed to be tended by medical. I thought he was done for the night, and then he came back out again.
Right. So I would say a lapse in continuity, which they've been very good at. Okay, but I'll give them a pass because they don't really do that much. The Creeds are getting a big push off the bout. I just felt this was kind of filler, like a. You know how I always use that term, walking the people around the block? I just thought this was just to give the mid-carders some TV time. Because, bro, think about it. They haven't done anything with the Indian clan, Ensure, whatever they're called, right? Right. Poor Alpha Academy, they're over, but then they put Tozawa in there, which they didn't need. They've been all comedy. All they do is jobs. Gable's really good. I understand you can't push everybody at the same time, but he deserves a little better. New Day still get the New Day rock chants, and I love these guys, but, bro, they still feel stale like week-old bread. You know what I'm saying? Gargano and Ciampa, for all the time they've given him, and they have given them quite a bit of time, they don't really they haven't really resonated with the fans. So about this match, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like so you're not complaining, and they tell you, hey, we got something for you to do, and it's happened to me too in AAA, where creatively I don't have somebody for something, so I put them in a holding pattern. I got to kind of walk them around the block till I figure out what I'm going to do with them, But this is what I felt, because when you're in a feud, when you finish your feud, you to get some heat off of it. Like, I'll give you an example. Look at Zayn after the Bloodline feud. Look at Ray after look at Dominic after the Ray feud. Look at Phantasma now after his feud, how he's going to go up. So you want your feuds to make you look better than you went going in, not stay at the same place or be worse. But yeah.
All right. So then Cody comes out, puts over Randy. Said the story was returned. He said the Punk is back. Said nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's why everyone is tuned in to hear what he has to say. Cody welcomed him back. Cody said with all the news being made, he wanted to make some himself. So the fans know him at this point. There's only one destination for him. So that he was granted the authority by Adam Pearce and announced he's the first person to declare for the 2024 Royal Rumble. So then out of nowhere, Nakamura appears on the screen and cuts one of his cool Japanese promos. They have like red lighting in the background to make it look really ominous. And basically he said, said Cody wants to finish the story, but he needs to do the subtitle, by the way. He needs to set him free and awaken him so he can evolve. Nakamura said he was very patient, but he's done waiting. I'll bring chaos to you. And then the lights were down. So the lights come up and they turn around and Nakamura's in the ring and sprayed him with the mist. And so then they said like that was the one that Nakamura had been talking about all along while everybody thought it was teasing about Punk. So that was I like those promos that Nakamura is so much more interesting now, isn't he? The way they do those promos.
100%, bro. You know, that's what I love about WWE.
Put your mic down. Put your mic down.
That's what I love about WWE. There, where we got Nakamura. We know he's a good wrestler. He's over, but we're not really doing much with him. Let's find something. You know what? The subtitle. They finally found, like, they're doing their job, but trying to get everybody over. His promos are way cooler in Japanese. They should do that with the girls too, instead of having
and
them
the
arguing Japanese. Yeah, and the Mexicans. Because
you're hearing them speak.
Right.
Like, so they're not just voiceless, characters and stuff. But even with the subtitles, it still works, so.
Right, because you know what they're saying. Right. I have zero clue what the Japanese girls are saying.
And
good
Cody's,
promo.
Yeah. No, I was going to say Cody's become so good that even if he's not really saying anything that crucial or important, he's still interesting and engaging. I remember when he left WWE and his whole thing was like, I need to go out and take a chance and stuff. And I kind of just looked at him as Cody, kind of mid card. I didn't see it, and I was wrong because within 2 years they had like All In or whatever. But he's pretty magnetic now.
Well, even in AEW, he had some great promos that I was like, where'd this come from? Including the one with his brother where he cried and they hugged. And then he came out with the, hey, the biracial. I have
Conan, you got to put your mic down.
Yeah.
So he had when he first started AEW, he had some really killer promos, right? Including the one about his brother where he hugged and they cried and all that. But then he did the biracial one where I have a biracial daughter and Martin Luther King and Harmony. Right. And I was like
USA against England.
Right. That was brutal, and that I lost it for me. But he's always had it inside of him. I did like when he started to talk about his dad, he almost cried. And let me tell you, because Dusty was my idol, and I very rarely mark out. But when I first saw Dusty Rhodes in WCW, I did mark out, because that's my childhood. And I actually competed in a War Games when War Games were really cool. Remember the first War Games, Glenn? How cool and different they were and how wild the people were? They're not like that anymore. Yeah. And so, and to actually participate in one as part of the WO was really cool for me. But anyways.
Plus, everybody bled, Konnan. And I remember one of the first ones, JJ got his shoulder jacked up. So as a kid and a fan, you're like, oh, these are really dangerous, Right. It sold it for us.
And here was the best part. They'd look at the cage and sell it. These anymore. Bro, you're in a cage. How many days of your life are you going to be in a cage where you can't really, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and the fact that it had like a roof on it was even better. But anyways, the only problem with poor Nakamura, bro, he's kind of like the Pentagon of WWE. He loses to all the top guys, but doesn't get a push himself.
So next is Bronson Reed versus Ivar. This is just a slobber knocker where they're beating each other up and outside the ring. They did a double count out. The security guards tried to break it up. They were beating up the security guards, and then Ivar hit Reed with a cannonball dive. And the rest, and they were pulled apart. So this is just like, I don't know. They tried hard here, but like people don't really care about this.
Just a couple little side notes, Di. One that I saw recently was that Hunter wasn't there, so Bruce was in control all night. And another, this is pointless.
Why was that? Why is that of interest?
Right, because Bruce.
It'll come up. It'll come up later. And then Dixie Carter was there. So just so you know, Dixie Carter was there.
Dixie.
So you need to put your news flash.
Yeah, right.
Bruce one will come up. It'll come up later.
You mean Mrs. Roper? Make sure that you put find crickets on there because they will be used very soon.
All right. So next,
tumbleweeds.
So Nia Jax showed up and and said Stark took Ripley to her limit and came up short, and Stark and Baszler looked annoyed while Jax spoke about how she would be the champion, and Baszler told her to shut her hole. And Stark challenged her to a fight, and Jax said that's exactly what she wanted. So she comes out for her entrance, but they go backstage to the clubhouse again, and R-Truth is in there eating jelly rolls. Go figure. This is our clubhouse.
Jelly rolls on the show.
Right. And Truth said he heard Judgment Day was looking for fifth member for War Games, and they could sign him up. They told him the match took place 2 nights earlier and dismissed him a short time later. So, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this stuff.
What I'm not a fan of is people just rolling up into the clubhouse and taking over, bro. That doesn't happen. Yeah.
Right. Next is Nia Jax and Zoe Stark. Take a wild guess who won this. Nia Jax beat her. But they're trying to make Zoe Stark look noble in defeat. Like, she's fighting hard. Which
who cares? Let me tell you, bro.
Yeah.
This is exactly my sentiments. Let me tell you my sentiments. I will give Nia Jax some credit. You can tell visibly in her face she's lost weight. Okay, she should definitely lose more. And she wore way better gear than that black and white cowgirl she wore last week, which was brutal, or 2 weeks ago. Bro, the problem with Zoe is 3. She's too small and unbelievable against somebody that big. And bro, and here's the biggest part of all to me. She, to me, does not have star appeal. And I'm just stating, not hating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, she looks somebody from the indies. She doesn't even look like a star. You know? But people weren't into this, by the way, as you can imagine. Right. Let me just say one last thing. I don't like this. And they do this a lot in WWE now. And I'm like, why are you doing this when you could do it before or after? Have you noticed? And they did this in this match. While Nia Jax was in the ring, they were doing a video package.
Yeah.
Right?
They do that a lot while the person's standing in the ring waiting for the other person. They put a video package in the middle of that. I don't like that.
It was I was on the Discord talking to some of the subscribers about it. And one of the guys was like, either I'm really did Nia's match happen? And I was drinking some of the Get Blitzed, and I was like, yeah, what happened to her? She came out and now there's a 8-minute video. I'm like, did I miss the match? And then they come back and Nia's in the ring. It's like, how long has she been waiting there?
Oh no, they do that a lot. Yeah. It wasn't an 8-minute video, and I will say this girl Zoe has a good corkscrew senton, not senton. But go ahead.
So Ludwig Kaiser and Leonardo da Vinci were bickering backstage, and Gunther showed up. And Gunther told him to go to Adam Pearce and sort out the DIY issue. Da Vinci started to promise they would do it next week. The Kaiser cut him off and then promised to take care of it. And the Kaiser and Da Vinci made their exit. Then Gunther turned around and Miz was there. Miz recalled Gunther stating at Survivor Series press conference he expected his next opponent to come challenge him to his face. Well, here I am, Miz said. And Gunther asked if he was sure about that. And Miz said he was and said they both knew he can take the Intercontinental title. And Gunther credited Miz for coming prepared for a fight. And Gunther said Miz belongs in the ring, just not with me. And Gunther said before walking away. That was good. They're giving Gunther some good verbiage these days. You notice that?
For sure.
And he's real good at delivering them. He's really good.
Yes,
right.
He is. Yep.
Right. So Rollins welcomed everybody Monday Night Rollins in the ring, and CM Punk chant came out, and Rollins started firing up the fans, encouraging them to bring, and that's if all the Punk fans had. Rollins told them to get it out of their system. He said he didn't want to spend one more second of ounce of energy on that hypocrite. And Rollins said instead of talking about someone who doesn't matter at all, she talked about the title they spent the last 6 months turning the most important title in the industry. Rollins said he had to admit that he wasn't feeling too good, but he was starting to get the itch, and he said he wanted to see Adam Pearce. They spent time in his office talking about who next opponent is, but then Drew comes out. McIntyre said he wanted to shake Rollins' hand and congratulate him for his victory at War Games. Rollins accepted the handshake. And McIntyre said Judgment Day promised Jey Uso on a silver platter and claimed to have a plan for winning at War Games, but apparently their plan was losing the match. McIntyre said he realized they had to put Jey on the back burner and get folk to focus on the World Heavyweight Championship. And McIntyre asked Rollins if he had recalled what he told him after their last match. Rollins recalled saying that McIntyre had no one to blame but himself for losing a crown jewel, and it would be the best thing to happen to him. McIntyre said that was right. He called Rollins being down at one point during that match. And he said he was going to hit him with the Claymore kick, but he felt compelled to tell him that he had been a great champion. He recalled Rollins slapping him in the face and said he deserved it. Basically, he said when he saw him down, he started feeling sorry for him, and his wife and his kid were there and stuff. Basically, so that's why he didn't pull the trigger. But now he said the compassion is gone and the sympathy is gone. He wants a rematch. Rollins and McIntyre deserves a rematch, but the problem was there were a couple of people who deserve a match before McIntyre does. Rollins announced that he would defend the title on next week's Raw, and McIntyre said Rollins is a champion, therefore he calls the shots. McIntyre asked who the match would be with, and Rollins hesitated before telling McIntyre that he would defend his title against Jey Uso next week. That McIntyre off, so he headbutted Rollins. McIntyre dropped him with a headbutt and left it cut on. McIntyre said that was a good visual. All right. McIntyre picked up a Rollins and suplexed him, grabbed Rollins by the face, and asked if it was personal against him. And said he beat Jey 2 weeks ago and is ahead of him in the line. And Jey Uso made his entrance and entered the ring and ducked a clothesline from McIntyre. And they hit him with punches, and basically him and Rollins super kicked McIntyre and cleared the ring of him. I thought this was, bro. They're really hitting points with verbiage in these promos.
Everything.
Right. It's like they're doing good soap opera storytelling and telling stories with this is good stuff. I mean, they really picked it up here with Punk coming back.
And look at how so anyways, and here's the thing, bro. You got these guys. Everybody now wants to make that money, and everybody wants to be a big personality and be a big star. I didn't even know this, but Phantasma was telling me that when he was in Hollywood, he was taking acting classes.
Right.
Dominic got this nutritionist to get him in shape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like everybody's like investing in themselves and being professional. And that's why we're seeing, they're helping WWE. It isn't all on them. Like I'm coming prepared. I'm in shape. I look good. I took acting classes. I'm tan. Everything you require. I got it. You know what I'm saying?
You ever think about why that is happening?
Because you want to make more money.
There's going to be a huge TV deal.
Or you want to impress the new owners. It's not the same people that own the company just got sold. It's like a new ownership group now, and like
they're already impressed.
But I'm just saying you could get complacent working for the same people all the time, But now you have new people you're working for. So do they like me? And let me get in shape. Let me make sure I'm right. So go ahead.
I think you know enough about WWE that you could never become complacent there. Because if you become complacent in WWE, somebody's going to take your spot. That's just, bro, we lived it in WCW. It was you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So
let me ask a stupid question real quick.
Right.
I just thought of it because you're talking about Dom with the nutritionist, Phantasma acting lessons. And it made me think about, you guys both invested a lot of money in your gear back in the day. When you do your taxes, were you able to write off gear and gym memberships and nutrition? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So in theory, Dom could write off his nutritionist. Okay.
Yeah, I would just keep all my workout related stuff and just I take it to my tax guy, just drop everything off, drop everything off, like the receipts for all that shit.
The best part of that, Joe, is you buy extra for yourself and you say it's gear for TV.
Right.
Here's let me just say this. This was another great segment. Rollins is such a great personality. Before he could even talk, they were already chanting CM Punk. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about that hypocrite," but he didn't talk much about it to keep that, that thing going. McIntyre got because he wanted the rest of, and he hit him with the headbutt and on the spot. I like this because you got Punk, Uso, Drew, and Rollins all in the mix. This is why bringing Punk was a good idea, because you got another guy that you can stick in there to make stories interesting.
And I'm sure they won't go right to it, but when you think about Punk and Reigns and the things they've said about each other, you also got to think about Punk was with Heyman for like a year on TV. So those guys crossing paths again is going to be.
He definitely, when he said, when we get to his promo, I'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue because we're taking too much time here. McIntyre was so there's another good segment. McIntyre was walking backstage after this when he was approached by Sami Zayn. McIntyre tried to blow him up, and Zayn took issue with him headbutting Rollins when he wasn't ready for it. McIntyre says Zayn doesn't understand what he's going through. Zayn brought up McIntyre's complaints about losing a championship match in front of friends and family due to the bloodline. So the same thing happened to him. He said McIntyre's acting like a spoiled brat, and he's better than that. McIntyre says Zayn may have a few points, and he said it was time to work his way back up the ladder. He said he was going to visit Adam Pearce next week to get himself a match against you. That's good. That was a good segment, I thought. When he with the look on Sammy's face at the end, he thought he was like setting him straight. Right. Like, yeah, you're right. I need to get back to work. You get ready next week. It's me and you. that was good stuff. More good stuff.
Yeah,
to get McIntyre. McIntyre's character is the most interesting character on the show right now, if you think about it.
Pretty much
what they're doing with him.
Pretty much.
Fast forward match, Chelsea and Piper against Tegan Nox and Natalya, and they win in 8 minutes.
Okay, yeah, that's where you can put in the cricket sound.
Yeah, that's right. So, right.
You have tumbleweeds.
Yeah, Randy Orton was getting ready for his match backstage.
No. I guess you'd hear the
right
the tumble. Yeah, I'll get that.
Right. So Jey thanked Orton for having his back at War Games, and Jey said he heard what Orton said about receipts for the Bloodline. He said Cody gave him a second chance by bringing him to Raw, and he's trying to do the right thing while leaving the past in the past. Orton said he understood, and he said he'd been watching Raw. Now Jey has had the back of Cody and others, and Orton said that means something to him. Said they can let bygones be bygones, and Orton said that he has unfinished business with the Bloodline. He said as long as Jey is out of the Bloodline, then they're good, and they shook hands. So
another great thread with logic.
Yeah. So Becky Lynch is in an interview backstage and said she felt she went to war and looked like it too. She did too, by the way. She had some marks on her face, like she looks like she got beat up a little bit. She said it was a night of making amends. She said there's a thin line between love and hate. You never know when it's going to switch from one to the other. And Lynch said she had a couple of fights in the horizon. One was more pressing than the other. And the broadcast team wondered what Lynch was talking about. It's kind of weird. Like they invested a lot of time in that angle on Monday or on last week or whatever it was, right?
Right.
And then they followed it up, and it's like hardly anything this week. Like bro, how many girls? How many of that crew was on the show?
Well, because I think they were.
Why? Oh no, because the other ones are on SmackDown. That's right. Okay.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
Right. Yeah. So Randy.
Do you remember SmackDown was full of women? 2 weeks in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. So Randy against Dominic. This is a good match. Randy went over 925, but Dominic looked good here. As he's yeah. So he should. So there was a spot here where Orton shakes hands with Jelly Roll at ringside. McDonough comes over and Jelly Roll shoved him down. The Dom came over, he shoved him down. That led to the finish with the RKO in the middle. So Jelly Roll got involved.
Another great. I like when Jelly Roll first met Otis in backstage and they bumped bellies instead of bumping fists. But Dom, another main event showing. They're showing they trust him. In main events with so little time in, and Orton, who's a really good friend of Rey Mysterio, instead of giving him the welcome to the biz match, he took care of him. Good match.
Right. Well, the reason I brought the thing up earlier with Bruce was because I saw online that, and Konnan, obviously you'll know this or could find it out immediately, is that Randy and Dom went over, and Punk's promo was cut short, and the speculation online was maybe Bruce didn't time it correctly, or those guys didn't get the cue. Who knows what it was, but that was the word. Right. They went long. Yeah.
Well, his promo, it was a 7 minute. He had like 7 or 8 minute promo in here.
Yeah, I know. It was supposed to be a little longer.
Was supposed to be longer.
Apparently, that's what it says.
Honestly, I don't think it needed to be any longer because it was kind of so.
Punk he really didn't say anything, right?
He didn't say
wasn't throwing a pipe bomb.
I don't even really want to repeat this except at the end where he said. Right. He says, "Babyface, glad to be back and stuff. Everybody's welcome with open arms." Well, he said, "Almost everybody." Right. He said they're afraid that we'll set the bar to an unattainable level, and he has the bar in his back pocket. Some people are afraid that when they wake up tomorrow, they would have to come to terms with the fact that their best efforts to be the best in the world in the ring, on the mic, and even on commentary isn't just false; it's a lie. Because the best in the world is back and is standing in the middle of the ring. Live and in living color in Nashville, Tennessee on a Monday night. His name is, and he held the microphone up to say CM Punk, the crowd chanted Punk. Said, I'm back. This was a weird closing line. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And that was the promo.
Right.
I was kind of a weird. What did you think about that out on that?
Well, I think that's always been his own.
I'm here to make money.
Well, immediately, I saw on the Discord, I don't know if someone there created it or if it was on Twitter, there was 2 like 90s looking shirts, and it had Punk on one and it said, I'm not here to make friends. And then the other shirt had Tony Khan on it and it said, I'm here to make friends or something like that. It was kind of fun.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, that reminds me of the Scott line. This is show business, not show friends. Right.
Yeah.
And that's always been CM Punk's motto anyways. He's kind of like out for himself kind of. But
this was like his Rampage promo when he debuted, except they took that 20 minutes and just smushed it down. It was almost the same thing. The first thing that Punk said when he got to the ring, which I popped for and I thought, wow, this is going to be good. And I didn't think it was it looks like hell froze over. I thought that was great. People obviously chanted CM Punk, I didn't, I was expecting more fireworks. This is like Joe said, kind of like when he went back to AEW, oh, shucks, thank you, I'm back. I love you too. Let's see how long that lasts. Because I like edgy, surly, Jim Cornette, Punk. If I was going to nerd it up a little bit, we've pointed out in the past how Punk was reusing a lot of Bret Hart's stuff tribute, whatever. So Konnan, when he came out and said, looks like hell froze over, Punk, that's the first thing Brett said when he came back to WWE.
Really?
So he used Brett's opening line, Yeah.
That's a great clapback.
I'll be honest.
Well, the inner nerds will know that in pop.
Yeah, right.
Punk's promo was underwhelming to me, and I wish indeed, I hope they don't, like start like 5 miles an hour with him. I would have liked
like they did in AEW.
I would have liked to kickstart something here. Call somebody out.
I think they'll kickstart it. I think there was just a feel good moment. He's back.
Right.
You don't need to milk it all in the first night. We got 52 weeks of TV.
Yep.
Next week we'll come back with something else, bro. They're doing things too good to f this up. You know what I'm saying? So I have faith.
They're saying his character is a free agent, so I wouldn't be surprised if.
And I doubt Punk's going to be like, hey, I want to wrestle Leonardo da Vinci and guys like that, like he did in AEW. Remember he came in. Right. Remember he came in. He was wrestling like Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia.
He thought he was going to go into AEW and elevate guys just because they were having a match with them. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just this way we're going to say, no, you got a ton of guys here that are top guys you're going to work with, before you start trying to elevate these younger guys.
Right. And plus to elevate a guy like that, like a mid-carder, you have to be in a feud with him. One match is not going to do it unless it's incredible.
Right. So next is so that's when I like this show because I like the verbiage hit a lot of good points in forwarding stuff, and I thought it was good storytelling.
Yeah, I thought that three things that stuck out. That one thing that stuck out to me, I felt like none of the matches were really over, neither the girls or the tag team, except for the Dawn match, and people were really into the in-rings. And I thought it was a good show. It was a return of Truth. That's my brother. I'm always gonna love him, no matter what gimmick he's in. The return of Orton, and I like comedy in wrestling. Orton, Punk, the Drew Rollins thing, the Cody promo, Dom Orton. I thought really good show.
Yeah, all their top guys are in good stuff right now. So that's been our Raw review.
Boom.